Hi, I'm Sith King,
And I'm Sonic Sons.
and we're the Rambling Reviewers.
We're watching Batman Ninja.
This is one of our progressive reviews where we have to stop and talk about what we've just seen.
We're 8 minutes, 30 seconds in, according to this thing.
Movie is already very stupid.
I mean, how could you screw up Batman Ninja? Just take that title and run with it. He fits very well, right?
He is an... Okay. Oh my god. This isn't Batman Ninja. This is some guy's Naruto Batman fusion fan fiction where Batman is a character in the Naruto universe. That is the only explanation for how this got produced. But it's just so stupid.
I mean, it tries to do a medias res thing where, like, the very first thing we see is Gorilla Grodd doing some science stuff that apparently teleports everyone into the past and also Japan. Which, what was Gorilla Grodd doing exactly? I don't know.
Why was he in Arkham Asylum?
Why was he doing this in the middle of Arkham Asylum?
I mean, out of all the... Gorilla Grodd is generally more of a Justice League villain, if I remember.
Yeah.
Justice League or Flash villain. Why would he be here?
This makes no sense.
I mean, if you want the Flash to beat you up, just call him and he can be anywhere in like 2 minutes. So why is he in Arkham? It's universally regarded as one of the shittiest places in the DC universe. And yes, I am including the Hell Planet of Apocalypse.
You imagine Gothamites moving to Apocalypse.
Yeah, oh, this is great. Suffer for Darkseid. This is so much better than living under the constant threat of the Joker.
Yeah, at least this guy's predictable.
My Lord Darkseid. I don't get it. Why are these people just... I don't think we're getting through to these new people. Okay, so somehow it teleports Batman to the middle of a random street instead of, I don't know, into a wall or into the center of a planet. But that's the
or
least...
even just Gotham, you know?
Yeah, why does it...
Specifically takes him to Japan.
Why does it take him to feudal Japan? Why did the Joker arrive much earlier? How did the Joker's soldiers know that Batman was going to be in this exact location and thus are moving into position to intercept him? How did the Joker know Batman would follow him? Wait, never mind. That kind of answers itself.
Yeah, never mind.
What idiot let the Joker in charge of anything? Why is the Joker's now a lord in feudal Japan because it's apparently really easy for people who, the Joker has pretty much only survived because if he was in New York in the Marvel Universe, the Punisher would have murdered him by now. And this is a world where they don't really have the thing against killing because they're samurai and ninjas. So how the hell the Joker is alive? Okay, let's leave aside the samurai and the ninjas. Arkham Asylum was just let loose into feudal Japan. The Doctor's head just exploded like a grenade.
Yeah, this might have... I mean, we haven't seen the rest of the movie yet. I don't know how it turns out. But I was already thinking it may have been better just to set it as all the characters were Japanese to begin with. A Japanese version of Batman who has been making his name in the shadows and all this, as opposed to someone who's been transplanted over, and we have to, explain all this transition and stuff.
And why Batman... Okay, let's start out with an easy one. Why did Killer Croc not immediately break out and eat all the other prisoners? He can do that!
Maybe he did eat half of them. We haven't met him yet. But what I did see is that Batman immediately tracks down the Joker, because that's his thing. Batman, by the way, and the Joker sound off to me. I know that, different voice actors each have a different spin, but I'm even more appreciating how good Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are at these parts. Because Batman... he doesn't just sound generically gruff when Kevin Conroy does it. He's like, hey, I'm Batman and all this. He sounds focused. He sounds like the being of the night who's also the chess master type of guy. And this guy's more just like, I'm kind of Batman and I'm gruff. Hey. And I'm like, oh, this is slightly annoying to listen to. And then the Joker is
the Joker has... I was joking with him by making bad lip sync impressions of what this Batman film would be like. And then the Joker starts talking, and they're all true. I was... Yeah. You know the type of thing you do when you make fun of Godzilla films. You know, you like move your mouth and then you say the word and then you move your mouth more to show that no, that's not what actually is being said. That is what is actually happening with the Joker. I mean, it might be happening to the other characters, but since their mouths aren't as freakishly, cartoonishly large as the Joker's, it's just not as noticeable. But why?
So yeah, I'm surprised this thing is 3D animated. I thought like, oh, it'll be a Batman anime, which in some sense it might be. I don't know, but these are actually 3D characters that have been like skinned over to make it kind of look like they're drawn, but from the way move,
think Ruby,
yeah. But Ruby, it works.
Yeah,
and this feels odd.
I think they're trying a little. Okay, Ruby, there is some room to be less critical because that's the art style. They go so far, but not further. They're trying to make this way too detailed, is what I think they're going on.
Well,
on top of this cel-shaded design.
You get a strange thing where you're drawn to the attention to detail in the essentially 2D elements of it, like the textures, but the attention to detail in the way they move in several of the shots is weird. Batman and Joker get into a fight. Joker and Batman both start moving around like the Flash.
They start moving around really weird. They start moving around like Naruto ninjas. Then Joker starts throwing out razor-edged fans, which, you know, totally a Joker thing to do. And the fans cut down several trees? No. The Joker cannot throw anything as light as a razor-edged fan hard enough to cut down a tree. Otherwise, his death toll would be much higher.
Right, he's not supposed to be super-powered. He's supposed to be, you know, in the background somewhere with a bunch of henchmen. He does have henchmen, I'll admit. But he's like it's already like off model for the character. It feels like a new character who just happens to be called the Joker.
The Joker is the strength of the Joker. Okay, the Titan serum from Batman Arkham Asylum aside.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the Joker's strength is not that he's some superhuman. He's no metahuman. He doesn't have enhanced speed or strength. He's not a super genius. He's so insane and crazy and durable that he just keeps coming back from everything. So already we have this weirdness about the character that it doesn't feel like the Joker because he's not acting.
I mean, and back to the voice too, because I wasn't just talking about the commentary. I mean, the lip flaps. I was commenting on the way in which he does his weirdness. It's hard for me to describe, and it might just be me. But like when Mark Hamill does it, yeah, he sounds weird and crazy and like the Joker. And this sounds like a guy trying too hard to be the Joker to me. Maybe I'll get used to it. I don't know. But what we just saw is Batman hanging out under a bridge, and then a little cat puppet talks to him. And then it turns out to be Catwoman, like, waving a puppet at him, and, like, yeah.
For some reason, she has cleavage for miles, even though she's supposed to be laying low, being, you know, Catwoman.
I mean, I don't know what her plan is.
She does look cute. She looks cute, you know.
Sure, I'm just wondering why she decided to wave at him with a cat puppet.
And how did she know that he'd be here? Has she just been waiting around other bridges?
I don't know.
This raises so many fucking questions. Look, we've been recording longer than we've been watching because this has just raised so many fucking questions. Why do you even have a cat puppet? Was this like a choice? Did you like, well, I seem to be in feudal Japan. I might as well learn the language. And my two immediate steps are, okay, 3 immediate steps are food and shelter. I'm counting that as 1. Learn the language, cat puppet. Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll find out. I don't know.
Okay.
This is so silly. Okay, be back.
Okay, we're at 13.
That's an unlucky
Who made this movie? What is this?
Okay.
Who funded this?
Okay.
There was a process. There were steps you could have taken. There was like a whole list of people that should have been consulted and said, no, this is fucking stupid. But none of them said no.
Okay, so Catwoman explains things because she's been here for 2 years. She doesn't explain the hand puppet. But the deal is everyone else got warped back 2 years before this. And now they're like, they've taken over various states of feudal Japan. And and there's like this weird animatic type thing explaining all this to you.
It was weird, but it was also a little cool.
It did actually kind of get better.
But okay. Questions immediately.
Yeah.
One, how is everyone alive? I guarantee that most of these people did not know Japanese before this started.
Yeah, they're not going to explain that ever, I bet you.
Second off, how did any of these people build up a power base? Because I guarantee you, most people see a crazy clown man running around mincing like a idiot, and they would just shoot him dead with arrows.
Like, even in Gotham, Joker doesn't run like, you know, the state of New Mexico or something, right? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like have
also because New Mexico is not where Gotham is, so
right. Well, it never was.
But still, Joker doesn't have actual political power. Okay, maybe you could say that Cobblepot, the Penguin, would do that. But the rest of them? Okay, first off, Poison Ivy has pink hair now. Why?
It's a side effect of time travel.
She's a redhead.
And getting killed and resurrected by Steven Universe.
Second, why is Deathstroke the Terminator in Gotham when he's a Titans villain, first and foremost? He's not really known for hanging with the Arkham crowd. I mean, okay, I could see him rising to the top. Fine, but really? Deathstroke the Terminator. You're doing this, guys. Like, why couldn't you have done Ra's al Ghul, who would have not only fit in as Lord of a state in
he would
Japan,
know Japanese because he's like lived forever and he learned all the languages.
Actually, don't even have it be time travel Ra's al Ghul. Just have it be regular Ra's al Ghul of this time period.
Yeah,
because he could do that.
And
or Vandal Savage, the immortal caveman. He could be here. Or the Forever Soldier, who has supposedly fought in every war in history and is a villain.
Especially if Batman was already fighting Raj in the beginning of the movie, and then time travel happens, and then he goes back in time, and incidentally, this whole movie ends up explaining why Raj hates Batman the first time he meets him in the modern era, because he met him hundreds of years ago. And damn it, it's you again. I like that.
There is actually a comic like that where a fortune teller predicted to Raj that Lex Luthor would come to this specific city and he would destroy Raj, and Raj wants to find out a way to make this thing come true. So for years he's been inviting Lex to come to this city
to find a way to destroy him.
Oh, it's a thing. It made
sense in context.
No, it didn't really make sense in context because it involved Black Lantern energy. But continuing on, so apparently, this is what has happened, that these criminals, the one who's closest to ruling is the Joker.
For some reason, Two-Face is a vassal of the Joker. I don't understand Two-Face being a vassal of anybody.
He flipped the coin, and it was like, yeah, be a vassal.
But even so, like, he would flip a coin as to shoot you in the face or stab you in the back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He's not a guy to be, like, someone's submissive somebody.
Yeah, just... Urgh.
So then the real reason we hit pause...
The real reason is that Batman... Oh, I bet that's a yarmulke that he's wearing.
He's supposed to be... Christian.
For some reason, Batman has either shaved the Batman logo into the back of his head, is wearing a Batman yarmulke, or is wearing a Batman habit that has his logo on the back of his head.
Like...
Why?
He's supposed to be in disguise.
God,
and he just puts the Batman logo on his head in the broad daylight, not wearing the bat costume, just so his enemies can find him easier.
No, look, this is
so dumb.
This Wile E. Coyote would say that your plan is flawed, and his idea of a plan is to strap rockets to everything.
Right. And like. Catwoman earlier was all, we just need to get into that tower. And then the next thing we cut is to, like, morning. I'm like, you're Batman. Can't you just scale the tower in the course of a night? Like, did you just...
This is kind of what you do.
Do you have to, like, disable the security systems or something? Because they don't have those in feudal Japan. And also, we saw more how the weirdness of the animation. When Batman is walking around in the suit, you can see his cape behind him. and it does not flutter at all. It is like cardboard.
Yeah, and it's not just the Joker that has bad dubbing. Everyone has bad dubbing in this film, and no one outside of the main characters is moving.
Yeah. We just saw a shot of the street, and like everyone was literally stock still for a while. It was weird. I don't know if this is like made for Japanese and they just poorly dubbed over English, or like they just didn't figure out an animation style that was capable of mimicking the human mouth. But it's funny because in regular animation, they animate it vaguely enough so that you can dub it and it looks natural either way. And this is, whatever they've done does not look natural. I mean, maybe we'll get used to it, but...
I hope not.
Okay.
We're starting again.
Okay, it's 1841.
Okay,
Oh my God.
So on the plus side, Alfred is now in the past too because he was in the Batmobile for some reason.
Why was he in the Batmobile?
He tries to show Mr. Bruce that he has set up the Batcave in the past because, of course, he
And the Batcave is just a shack with the Batmobile in, and they've been maintaining it for 2 years. Also, Alfred walks up to fucking Bruce Wayne wearing his British butler suit, hands him some tea, and says words out loud, and it's not until Batman tastes the tea that he notices it's fucking Alfred. This is supposed to be the most observant superhero that ever existed.
This is the world's greatest detective, and you didn't notice Alfred standing 3 feet from you.
It's like, really?
Okay, but prepare yourself for the cavalcade of stupid. So, the Joker's men somehow know that Batman and... Oh, wait.
Catwoman.
Who am I kidding? He's either shaved his head and tattooed a Batman symbol on the top of his head, or he's wearing a Batman yarmulke.
When he's supposed to be Christian. Just pointing that out. They said that explicitly.
Yeah, so, okay. The Joker's men start shelling his house thing, and when the shelling is done... No one is injured, and everyone is in their costumes.
Oh, yeah, because somehow she made a quick change there, Catwoman.
Yeah, because it's really easy to do that when your house is being attacked by cannon fire.
It's just common, everyday stuff.
So then Batman drives under the lake and drives over some of the cannons, and then...
Drives to the Joker's fortress, which is some distance away, I guess. And then the Joker's all like, activate Arkham Castle.
And it's...
His entire fortress is a transformer. Somehow!
His fortress in feudal Japan has robot arms. And it's not even like they're made with period technology. It looks like something out of an anime.
Yeah, it's like Ava or something.
And they're just throwing giant throwing stars at Batman's Batmobile.
Even the dialogue is really weird, because he's all like, oh, we need a batter, not a broken ladder, which is a lame thing you say to make fun of batters in baseball. And then he's like, then he says, batter up, and he throws shurikens in a motion that has nothing to do with swinging a bat. And it was really, I don't know, I guess maybe he's supposed to be the pitcher.
and then he's... Why?
And then Batman is driving by, and the Joker grabs him, because Batman is enough of an idiot to let his car get grabbed on the first go-round.
Okay, to be fair, would you be prepared if you were driving a car and suddenly a feudal castle turned into a giant robot?
If I were Batman, who prepares for everything.
Admittedly.
He's probably run simulations on this.
He's probably run simulations. Oh, it's the Joker. Oh, no, it's the little details that trip you. Oh, it's the Joker piloting the castle. See, I thought it would be the emus piloting the castle.
The emus?
Yeah, you know, the giant flightless birds from Australia.
Why would they be piloting the castle?
Why would a castle have robot arms in feudal Japan?
I was about to say, like, if the Joker, or if this were some other villain who was robot-themed, it would make slightly more sense.
But Joker isn't a tech guy.
Not at all.
The thing I most remember about him and using high-tech stuff is... the scene in The Dark Knight where he takes a giant pile of money, lights it the fuck on fire, and says, you know what I use? Dynamite, knives, gasoline, and the thing about them is they're really, really cheap.
Yeah, that's his way. He's like a grungy-ish villain with a clown face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't really. He uses pre-existing stuff.
Like if this were Lex Luthor, it'd be slightly more understandable that he built a giant robot.
If it was evil Iron Man, it would be slightly more understandable.
Yeah.
If it was like.
Then he lifts Batman into the air, and Batman's like, "Not today, Joker." And he flies away, and I guess the Batmobile transformed into the Batwing, but it does not look sleek the way it's supposed to look. Like, the middle section looks still like a car, and it feels like this whole thing should fall into the ground immediately.
And then Joker uses the castle's other arm to extend its Wolverine claws and impales it. And by the way, I don't know if you caught the animation. Batman started firing machine gun rounds into the top of the castle, and they were bouncing off the rice paper walls.
Also, Batman...
Look, I know guns in animation are supposed to be freaking useless, but can we at least pretend that they're strong enough to cut through paper without deflecting?
Yeah, also Batman using guns is always weird, and like, there have been times where they did it, and like, oh, he was using rubber bullets or something. But, look, guys, this is already really weird, and this is just adding more onto the weird. I mean, I'll say this, it's a very different show than I was expecting.
Also...
Points for Audacity.
No points for Audacity. You get points for Audacity if it works out, not if it's fucking stupid.
I suppose. I guess we'll keep watching.
No, we're not done yet.
Right,
we're not done yet. And let's not forget that someone apparently didn't tell anyone that it was supposed to be Batman Ninja, not Batman fucking anime, because the Joker is prancing and dancing like he's a JoJo villain.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Harley is wiggling her butt around, and it's who did this? Can we kill them? Okay, can we at least? I just don't even. What did you? This Batman is a simple concept.
Yeah. Also, ninjas known for doing stealth don't fit very well with driving a giant car straight at the enemy fortress.
And time travel. Don't forget. Okay, actually, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they barely count as ninjas as is.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is just
that movie made more sense than this one by far. At least so far.
God, damn it! Who designed this? Feel bad. You should feel bad. I'm sorry for saying kill them, but just God, what is even the? Someone had to. I would love to have been a fly on that wall when they said, "Okay, so the next scene, the Joker transforms a feudal castle into a giant robot." Of course, it makes sense.
The people who brought you Wild Wild West.
The people who brought you meth.
Wild Wild East.
Okay, Wild Wild West was not supposed to make sense. This Batman has always tried to be at least a little reasonable in his own adventures.
Yeah.
He doesn't bring in the alien super tack. He doesn't bring in...
Or if he does, that comes with a sense of gravitas, not with the sense of, like, what the hell's going on?
This would honestly work better if it was if this was Iron Man.
Yeah. No, that could be Iron Man is driving his car, let's say he has one, and it's the Ironmonger guy who's done this to the...
Or Justin Hammer, or Ultron, or any one of a number of villains who could have better fit this whole... What? Okay, we're gonna keep going now.
All right.
Why is Bane here?
We're at 20 minutes even.
Bane! Okay, so Batman ejected again, and he's got a motorcycle this time, and he ramped down the robot arm of the feudal castle, and Joker said, "Do you take me in, or do you save the woman who I am holding hostage by holding arm above?" And Batman obviously chooses the woman and the child.
He jumps off, he's like falling faster than the hand, which I guess is moving slower than gravity, and then, apropos of nothing, you suddenly see this sumo wrestler staring into this camera, and he's like, "Rrr!" and you're like, wait, who is this? And then it's Bane.
It's wearing Bane's mask.
And then you're like, where is Bane in relation to Batman even? And thankfully the next shot tells you he's below him, but like, it really felt like a sudden change of scene.
But Bane's whole thing is that he uses venom. He uses this steroid compound. Are you telling me that they somehow figured out in a medieval society how to make super steroids?
Apparently.
Because otherwise, Bane should be going through drug withdrawal. He should look much thinner than this. What the fuck? Why is Bane a sumo wrestler? He's a luchador.
That's release related to wrestling?
What?
I mean, luchador's type of wrestling, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But not this type.
No.
It's like, this would be better if it was an original universe.
Yeah. And this is some other guy who's Bane-esque, but not Bane from the future type of thing.
My brain hurts.
I'm gonna keep watching.
Batman is riding a cyclone! It is a transform... His motorcycle just turned into powered armor. He had a fucking anime transformation sequence, and now he has a title card, Armored Batman.
It's been 21
he
seconds.
Just has this. God fucking damn it.
How was this thing in the vicinity of Arkham, and also frigging Alfred was driving it or something, and it had to be in to get hit time traveled with the what?
You have broken Sonic Sons. Fucking Sonic Sons. You're the calm one here.
Yeah.
Who?
It's entertainingly weird. It's very weird.
This is Kung Fury. This is Kung Fury. That's just what this is.
That's kind of what they're going for. All right, when we come back. Hello again.
So we waited a little bit.
38.59, I think.
Now my blood pressure is back down to 3 digits.
Yay.
And I've taken all of the antidepressants and antipsychotics.
Yeah.
And they managed to wrestle the hammer out of my hands.
Yay.
But, okay, so what happened was Gorilla Grodd suggested an alliance because he can work the time machine. I just said that out loud. And it sort of worked. They captured the Joker and Harley Quinn in another battle that really shouldn't be in a Batman movie. Because, no, the Joker and Harley Quinn are not super speedsters.
They showed less of it this time.
Yeah, they did. Then Grodd betrayed them and tried to use his mind control device. And instead of something, I don't know, cool, like Batman saying, oh yeah, I sabotaged that. Mm-hmm. Everyone just goes, oh yeah, we just have super heroic willpower, so you can't do that.
Yeah, I made it make sense of a ninja, but it was kind of just like out of the blue still.
Yeah, then it turns out that Two-Face was working with them, with Gorilla Grodd, and ambushes. Oh, Batman has a clan of ninjas following him. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. And all of his modern technology is now broken because we needed to do it this way, I guess.
All this stuff got smashed with a hand before. So, yeah, Two-Face ambushes them. It's pretty weird. Grodd's like, oh, I can't mind control you? Well, how about this? And then Two-Face, I guess, via some unseen signal, starts shelling their ship with all these cannons. But, like, Grodd himself is standing on that ship. So he's kind of shooting cannons at himself. Then he gets away somehow.
Then Joker and Harley kind of commit suicide-ish. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm sure they're alive, but yeah.
And Catwoman goes over to Grodd's side on the basis of shut up.
I mean, I presume she's still on our side secretly, just doing one of those double agent things.
And Batman starts getting really angsty because he let the Joker and Harley Quinn commit suicide. So he's like, I've lost everything.
Well, he didn't even say he's convinced that they're dead. He is sad that a bunch of people got apparently killed and also injured in the ambush that he recklessly dove into or something. But it wasn't like there was any other options we knew about. You know, nobody said, hey, Batman, how about we try this other way? And he was like, no. But okay, so for a while there, it seemed to be calming down. There was less robot stuff. Yes, the Joker had machine guns on his boat, but that's better than robot hands. Slightly more plausible. There is a bit where Joker, at a distance of maybe 30 yards, is firing a machine gun directly at Batman, who stands stock still and somehow doesn't get shot. But okay. They did a little bit of ninja trickery with pretend guys, surrounding you, and actually those aren't all real guys. That was a little odd too, though. They're doing the whole ninja thing of breathing through a bamboo tube while you swim under the water, but the whole idea of that is you keep the tube above the water while you breathe. And what they presented it was, oh, it's just water, and then suddenly there's tubes everywhere. Well, what was everybody breathing for the last 10 minutes?
Those weren't the people. Those were the
I know,
creatures.
but like that made it really obvious that this wasn't really that, there were people. Okay, so then it seems to be calming down a bit, and Batman's sort of like, oh, I've lost so much. But then this is some dumb writing too, because A, if it's supposed to be Batman got arrogant or hasty or something, it was never made clear until now after the fact. B, if he's mourning dead people, could show us a few shots of them digging graves or the people who were injured or whatever. C, he says, I have nothing. Without my technology, what can I do? And then 30 seconds later in that same conversation, he's like, I was wrong. I don't have nothing. Like, but how did you switch that opinion all of a sudden? Nothing happened.
And furthermore, Batman started out with him learning martial arts from all over the world. He spent years learning and mastering all forms of unarmed, armed, and other forms of combat that didn't rely on technology. Just because he has technology doesn't mean that, he was lesser for it, and now that he doesn't have it, congratulations, you're back to where you were when you started training.
Yeah, I would absolutely believe it. Like, Batman isn't a hero who, say, was a normal guy and then got, like, alien technology that gave him superpowers. And then, he loses the tech, and what can I do without my powers and my tech and whatever? Like, that kind of guy. This is a self-made man. And having built himself from the ground up and having been prepared for every eventuality, he'd totally be the guy who would just instantly pick up on, what needs to be done in this situation and not care that his old tech is gone. It's just a change of tactics.
Yeah, okay. Iron Man, this might have been a little more crippling for, but Iron Man would somehow make Leyden jars and create like a taser gauntlets and his own Iron Man suit in the feudal era.
Yeah, I would take this a little more from, like, say, Hal Jordan losing the power ring and being like, oh crap, what can I do without that? Because I'm not trained. Not Jon Stewart, however. Jon Stewart's a Marine and he would totally have it to play. But Hal Jordan might be like, oh wait, what do I do without the ring?
Okay, Hal Jordan was Air Force, so
that's true. But in a place with no airplanes, at least, he'd be a little more lost.
Okay, yeah. So there was actually in the Justice League cartoon, there was this one episode where the Justice League is sent back in time to World War II.
Oh, yeah.
Jon Stewart loses control of the power ring, so he can't use it, and he works perfectly fine as a normal Marine.
Yeah, I would see Batman adapting to this very quickly, and granted,
and a lot less wangst.
Yeah, that was weird. He spends too much time in daylight in this movie. The whole battle was in daylight. And when he's in night, he doesn't, like, blend into the shadows the way a Batman should.
He's just kind of walking around in a bad costume.
Yeah. And then what really caught our eye is, okay, I get it. Ancient Japanese scroll art is interesting and all. But, like, they cut to this thing that really looks like a video game cutscene, where it's like an image of Nightwing appears on the left, an image of Batman on the right. None of their mouths are moving at all. And just overdub is like, here's the thing we're going to do. I'm like, this is Fire Emblem. This is like a Fire Emblem cutscene right here. This is not a movie. What the hell?
It's all of these bad decisions adding up, and it's just...
I mean, this still image we're looking at is beautiful art. I'll grant you that. But to make us look at it in this way is weird,
Yeah, it's... My problem is that there's no suspension of disbelief in the film. Now, a normal Batman film, I can say, okay, I can believe that a man with super tech and gadgets can find his way into these places and punch criminals. I can believe that a crazy person with a burned face can decide who lives and who dies with a flip of a coin. But you're taking all of these... Batman has always been kind of gritty noir fantasy kind of a thing.
Yeah. And you could do that well enough in feudal Japan if you kept it to the shadows, made him act like a ninja, got rid of the giant robots, and had him sneaking around and being clever and shit. And that could be interesting and still different. And this is like wild.
It's like they're throwing everything in. We want some anime, so we have the Joker making weird anime poses and Batman doing an anime robot transformation with his power armor.
Then we get rid of that. We're gonna do other things with Japanese scrolls.
Yeah, it's
like it was written by committee or something.
It's like it was written and they said, okay, we need this, this, and this, and then they didn't know how to transition between various points.
Yeah.
So all of the tech gets blown up in one single scene, and then Batman goes...
Why have it at all then?
Yeah,
Just
why
give me
not?
A story where just Batman shows up.
have his armor break relative.
Have him transported while he's in the Bruce Wayne form, and he has no shit at all, and has to build new batarangs from scratch in the woods or something, right? With a ninja clan and all that stuff, if you want to.
Sure, but this is just bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting kind of bad, but this is
it's interesting in the sense that they're throwing everything at the wall and saying, "Oh, look at all this stuff we have," but not bothering to give it much meat behind it.
Not much. We'll see what they give us next.
Well,
we made it to the end.
So, the most logical series of events happened, where the villains decided that now was the time to kill each other on the fields of hell. I have to specify that this is a place in Japan and not the actual fields of hell. Because let's face it, at that point, I'm not even sure if that was out of the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obviously, naturally, all of their castles are giant robots. Because of course they are.
Yep.
But then it turns out that this was Gorilla Grodd's plan, and that he was mind controlling each of the villains of Gotham, so that, oh god,
they could form a Megazord.
Yeah, so that they got all their technology from him, and he turned it into a Megazord. Except there was this scene earlier where the Joker and Harley Quinn had lost their memories and were now farmers.
This is actually a very interesting animation in that scene. Very different tone. And it's all like, oh wow, they actually became good people. And then 1 second later, it's like, no, wait, they're turning evil again.
Yeah, it turns out that the Joker, in one of those, well, of course you did moments, he hypnotized himself to be a good person who didn't remember his past until he smelled a certain type of flower. At which point he reverted to his super evil mode. And then he flew over the battlefield in a hot air balloon and dropped paralytic gas bombs onto Gorilla Grodd's Megazord. I actually said those words. I actually said those freaking words.
Gorilla Grodd's got bad security, apparently. Hot air balloons can just wander in.
So he came and took over the Megazord, while Batman and friends came in on gliders and rescued Catwoman, who was not spying on Gorilla Grodd for Batman, but was actually betraying him.
Yeah.
But she kind of sort of becomes sort of good at the end, but it doesn't, whatever.
So Batman spends this half of the battle doing nothing, actually. He flies around on gliders until suddenly, somebody needs a glider rescue.
So Gorilla Grodd is injured in this part, and everyone's hiding behind a rock from Joker's Megazord. So Joker decides to take a nap.
Yes, he totally does.
And Gorilla Grodd hands Batman a flute and says, "Take it. It will allow you to control my army of monkeys."
He just has that.
He just has that.
He didn't bring that up earlier either. No. Just his backup army of monkeys. They're all have uniforms too.
So Damian and his pet monkey play the flute to get the army of monkeys to run all up the sides of the Joker Zord and try to break it, but they utterly fail at this. But then Damian's pet monkey gets a girlfriend monkey who helps them play the flute better. And the tone the song they're playing on the flute is the na 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 Batman thing. So the monkeys, as the most obvious and logical move, join together in a hive mind to form a giant golden armored monkey.
Made out of, every inch of it is made out of monkeys and their armor. There's no there's not a robot shaped like a monkey. It's made of monkeys.
You know what the sad part is? We have to specify that
yes.
in this film taking place in the feudal Japan. So then the Joker Zord starts using a flamethrower on the monkeys, and we see the monkeys starting to die.
Yeah.
But then, for no explicable reason, bats start flying in and covering
Billions
the
of
monkey.
bats. Yeah.
And that somehow turns the giant monkey creature into 100-foot-tall Batman.
Yes.
Who punches the arm off of the Joker Zord. I am feeling physical pain reciting this.
This is so weird. And what's funny is since our last recording, like, there was the weirdest parts of the show, and then actually the coolest parts of the show, because it eventually becomes a sword battle between Joker and Batman, which is not something they'd normally do, but like, okay, certainly compared to all the other crazy we've seen, I can deal with this. And it was a well done fight, even if for some reason Batman is like made of bats also. They did this several times. We like throws Batman off a cliff, and then Batman like, oh no, it was 100 bats just shaped like Batman somehow. And this happens like multiple times. You're like, is there an actual Batman in this fight, or was it all just bats the whole time? I'm so confused.
Oh my god.
But other than that, it was really cool.
It was just so weird. But Batman eventually wins, and they take the time machine, and they just leave. And it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over. The credits are showing us pictures of what looks like a perfectly normal comic book so far. Yeah, look, normality.
Look, this was made on drugs. There were drugs involved in the creation of this.
This was less weird than the Silver Age.
Okay, fair enough. But
oh no, wait! I'd say the Silver Age is less weird than this.
Yeah, never mind.
Come to think of it, it didn't actually go this weird. I was misphrased that.
Just
oh my gosh.
Okay. Now let's just do like 10-second thing of what we would have done differently.
I would have had Batman actually being a ninja and sneaking around and being clever and stuff.
I would have removed sorry. I would have removed all of the technology.
Yep.
I would have just had this take place in a parallel universe where Batman is a Japanese man and seeing how things would be done in like Edo in this new universe where various crime lords are the Batman Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, that fits very well with what I just said. They can go together.
Just no robots, nothing that would make, blood shoot out my eyes.
It's like we were saying, it's like someone from Gurren Lagann must have worked on this.
No, someone from Gurren Lagann did work on this.
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't know if you were
I
actually
did look that up.
Okay.
Someone from Gurren Lagann did work on this.
Okay, and the thing is,
They
with Gurren
should not
Lagann,
have.
it's built into the premise. You know there will be giant robots, and they combine, and that's the thing. You know that from the end of the first episode, maybe the second.
But when
it's the thing,
But when you see the title Batman Ninja,
you're expecting something either Batman-esque or Ninja-esque, and not Power Rangers out of nowhere.
and not, I don't know, like every shonen anime ever.
I mean, even Power Rangers didn't have an army of monkeys all of a sudden forming their own Zord out of monkey flesh. Like,
okay,
even
there actually was.
Oh, dear, was there one?
Yeah, where it wasn't the monkey.
Yeah.
It was the minions of the season combining into the giant monsters.
Okay, wow.
But
That's one example.
that was at least built into the premise.
Yeah.
When I sat down to watch Batman Ninja, I thought it would take a more noir detective look at this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like Batman acting as a ninja in feudal era Edo, where like he's a ninja that goes around and solves crimes and stuff while avoiding the wrath of the feudal lords.
Yeah, that could be a great story, but make it a comic if nothing else. I'd love to read it.
Yeah, bring in the guys who did The Long Halloween.
Yeah,
they would do really well.
Those guys would do very well with that. They knew everything about pacing, about Batman being all like cool and blending in with the shadows and having these complex multi-layered plots that people were all piecing together. Go read The Long Halloween if you haven't, because that's one of the best Batman comics ever done.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And Dark Knight Victory is cool too. Not as cool as The Long Halloween. That's okay.
Or Batman the Animated Series.
Batman the Animated Series made so much more sense than this.
Look, even when it was doing things like Victor Freeze has a ice ray, that at least...
It felt way more real than this.
It felt like it fit into the world.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like something was just jammed into this setting.
Yeah, no, that's a great show. Well, now that I've seen the thing, I can maybe that's why Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill didn't voice this. They're like, guys, you guys,
no,
what is this? What is this madness?
Like they did some weird stuff. Okay, it's not like Batman the Animated Series was averse to doing weird stuff. There was the episode where they turned Catwoman into an actual Catwoman.
Yeah, but they had so much more style about it.
Yeah, the DCAU was just amazing, though. I mean, granted, again, weird stuff. And yes, this does count Superman 64 as part of it.
Okay, well, Superman 64 is bad. I'll give you that.
Yeah, although I have actually seen some articles as to why that was.
They ran out of money?
No, they had plenty of money. The problem was, there were many problems. First off, the executives at Warner Brothers did not want them to show Superman killing anyone. Even
fight robots then, jeez.
Yeah, so they had everything take place in a virtual reality world that you were trapped inside of. So no matter what you did, Lex was still out there and doing all the evil stuff.
Yeah.
Second, the notoriously low draw distance. No, that was just technical limitations of the machine at the time.
Other people used that machine way better than they did. Come on, man. Mario 64 was the first thing to come out and it had like 100 times the draw distance.
Okay, yes. I
don't know. In case you came here looking for advice on whether or not to play Superman 64, the answer is no.
Which is widely accepted as the worst video game ever made. One of the worst video games ever made.
E.T. Atari's up there too, but that was on the Atari. I mean, what was 64's excuse?
Yeah, what was? Look, I actually feel kind of offended, because I honestly wasn't sure what this was trying to do. Was this an anime's attempt at Batman? If so, you missed the mark. And was this American Batman people trying to do their attempt at anime?
If so, it's not all Power Rangers, you guys, or Gurren Lagann stuff. Much as we love Gurren Lagann, but
it's not Gundam all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. And anime can be subdued. You don't have to have the Joker moving around and posing like a JoJo character.
Yeah, you don't have to have that. I almost could take it better if there wasn't some atmosphere of seriousness. Like, if this is more like, okay, it's kind of like Batman the Brave and the Bold, where it's silly up front, and we're going to make a silly show. And you're like, okay, it's not my favorite Batman, but I see we're doing it. But we have Batman, acting all gruff and grim and staring and being tough and stuff. And then the silliness is everywhere. And you're like, I can't put these two things together.
You have Batman talking about how the villains are changing the timeline and how this could rewrite the history of the world, and he's doing this with total sincerity. And then you cut to a scene of the Penguin in his robot castle talking to his army of penguins.
Because he has those in feudal Japan. As weird and messed up as all is, I'm still glad I saw it for wow, alright, there's an example of out-of-the-box thinking. Didn't work so well, but I'll give you credit for being bold. Maybe I can salvage bits of this for other stories that make more sense in their own contexts, I may honestly watch it again sometime. Just be like, what is going on here? This is fascinating. But it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't even work in the context of its own narrative. It's a mess from beginning to end.
I feel like it's like someone sets up a speaker system and they like put it to max volume, and they grab a microphone and they just yelled, "Japan!" like, and robots and Batman, you guys. Like it's just so much just thrown at you, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? I see you're enthusiastic, but
this is the Kung Fury of anime.
Yeah, except Kung Fury was self-aware about it, so like they made fun of themselves as they went. So you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like when they do that thing where like, oh, as if it was an old VHS tape, and you skip the scene, and, it's all silly, and like you got that. This was like the uncanny valley of silliness.
Yeah.
It was right in that middle zone of like, where are we going? I don't know what to do anymore. So that's Batman Ninja. A character who's not usually known for being silly, by the way, which is another part of it.
I don't really think there's anything left to say. Oh my god. Do you have anything left to say?
I feel like this is, if you've ever read the Harley Quinn comic book, this would be like a scene of Harley Quinn imagining a story for herself in Japan, right? And telling it to all her friends. And Poison Ivy would be sitting there the whole time being like, really? And then the monkeys, and they made an army of monkeys. Like, that's totally like a Harley Quinn brainstorm type of thing. But then they made it the actual movie.
And then, like, Poison Ivy just looks over. You've been getting into my stash, haven't you?
No.
Oh, no way, Red. I just decided you just burned your hair the other day. And I've been tripping balls since.
Yeah. Mr. J.
Oh, no.
I know he's not even in the scene, I know. But he would just say that reflexively. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Alright. I guess that's it.
Okay,
Thanks for listening.
So I'm Sith King.
I'm Sog Sons.
I'm gonna go get some headache medication.
We're gonna go place. Bye.
This is why we drink.
Oh.